Okay, I think we are live now. 2 people watching. Mic seems to be working. I think it is. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe the mic isn't plugged in. Either way, I mean, I think people can hear me, even if it's not the microphone I specifically want it to be using. Either way, going to go ahead and give us a little bit of time to get for people to get in if they want to watch. Until then, obviously, want to give people a little bit of a chance. No guest this week. Unfortunately, I had some difficulties getting to Colin Barnes, as I was talking about last week.
Put the camera down.
I was looking at the camera earlier. There we go. That's a little bit better. Had a little bit of a difficulty getting to Colin Barnes earlier this week. Throughout the week, I was given a phone number, and then it didn't work, and so no guest this week. I am sorry for that. But we're going to be doing something. I'm going to wait for a little bit, give people a chance to come in. There's a lot to talk about this week, so with only one person watching at this point, want to wait for people to have a chance to come in here and join the video before I start, because there is a lot to talk about. Got 2 people now. Anyone who's watching, of course, free to talk, free to ask any questions. I mean, right now waiting for people to join in. If you have anything you want to ask regarding sports, regarding anything with Vanderbilt, just ask. Of course, just a little bit of dead time here before we start truly. So. It's been almost 2.5 minutes. I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. Anyone jumping in late is just going to have to jump in late at this point. Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen of Vanderbilt, and welcome to Terrier Talk. This is episode 18, the season wrap-up for 2 of the 3 big sports for spring, as well as a lot of big announcements for this episode going into the next episode. So, like I said, the season's wrapped up for both track and baseball. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But that means that next episode is going to be the final episode for this season of Terrier Talk. It's going to be the season finale. And next week, I'm planning to have a big show. So, a few things with that. Next week, with that season finale, I'm just going to do a wrap-up with all the big moments, all the highlights from the season, both fall and spring, although I'll probably be focusing on the moments from the winter and the spring that I specifically focused on. Obviously, the big moments from the fall, I will, of course, cover, but it'll be maybe a little bit more detailed for the winter and the spring sports. So that is going to be next week. It's going to be the season finale, and also I'm planning to have some special interview for that week during the show. So, of course, come on over for that next week. Also, this is an announcement for any senior athlete that is watching, of course. If you want to do an interview, not during the show, but throughout the week, I am going to be doing interviews with any senior athlete. I want to talk about whatever sport you're in, fall or spring or winter, does not matter. Come on, talk about it. I'll be able to interview anytime. If you want to schedule a time, talk to me either during the halls during school, or you can reach me via email, via my school email. If you're doing that, come on. Any senior athlete, if you want to do that, and I will upload it to this channel. So make sure to do that. Talk to me either via email, or if you have my phone number, via text, or just talk to me during the halls and we can schedule a time, whatever that may be. So, now that we have that, tune in next week. It'll be a big show. So what happened this week? This was the final state track meet for our boys and girls track team. and our baseball team finished the playoffs this week. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the state track meet. The boys had only 2 people coming in, I think, at the very least. Only 2 people entering in, Hayes Thompson and Kenny Franklin. Both of them qualified for state last week in regionals, and both of them had very good finishes. Hayes Thompson finished 3rd in the pole vault, actually getting a bronze medal in the state, which is incredible. And Kenny Franklin got 4th in the long jump, just missing out on the medal, and 9th in the triple jump. Very, very great, great performance from both of them there. The girls, however, have much more to talk about. So the girls finished 4th, but which is, of course, technically their worst finish this season, but it was not a bad performance from them by any stretch of the imagination. They had a great performance all around. The final standings read a very small gap in points between the first place team and Edna Carr. Congratulations, of course, to Edna Carr for winning state in our division. Between them and our 4th place team, Vanderbilt. First place Edna Carr finished with 68 points. Then Booker T. Washington finished with 66 in 2nd place. Very, very close finish there. St. Thomas More finished 3rd with 63 points, and then we finished with 55. Only 8 points behind, I guess a technical podium finish between us and St. Thomas More, and then only 13 points behind Edna Carr. That's a gap, sure, but it's a reachable gap. We really were in the title conversation. We were not that far away from potentially putting up a state banner. So an amazing season all around for our girls track team, and great job for them for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into some individual finishes, because there were a lot of top individual finishes. Many impressive state championship, 2nd place, 3rd place, point scoring finishes for our girls. Bryn Kelso had an amazing day. She finished 3rd in the 800 meter. She finished 1st in the 1600 meter, and she was one of the 4 ladies who won the first ever state 4A girls 4x800 meter state championship. That team was Bryn Kelso, Amelia Viator, Caroline Lindsay, and Ella Chestnut. So, like I said, Bryn Kelso finished 3rd in the 800 meter herself. Emery Prentice also had a very impressive day. She started off the day with the 4x1, which is a little different from normal. Usually the girls' 4x1 happens well before the pole, after the pole vault, excuse me. But this time it happened before the pole vault due to scheduling conflicts. It was a very weird day for the track meet due to rain and other different circumstances. It had to be indoors, so the schedule had to be all changed up yesterday. So the 4x100 meter relay happened first. I guess her body just wasn't used to that happening, and she had some kind of quad injury. I want to say it was pulling a quad, but either way, some kind of quad injury during that. Despite that, this, I'm pretty sure, 8th grade girl went into state championships for pole vault afterwards and placed 2nd out of all of the girls in all of Division II State 4A in the state of Louisiana with an injured quad. She finished 2nd. That is so impressive. Huge congratulations to Emery Prentice for that finish. And of course, I hope she has a, first of all, speedy recovery. Although, I mean, how hurt you were able to still perform. But other than that, great season. Congratulations for that. And of course, I hope you have the same success, if not more success, in the future, in future years. Caroline Lindsay, who also was in the 4x800, finished 3rd in the same 1600 meter run that Bryn Kelso got 1st in, which, if it's the same scoring system that a normal meet I think at the very least is in, the Terrier relays, for example, had the scoring system 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1 for the top 6. That's 16 points just right there in one event of the 19 events. And 19 events. That is great. Of course, that's probably a large reason that we got to that great position to be able to place 4th in state. Rebecca Lawrence placed 7th, in the long jump, and 6th in the triple jump. Amy Parrott got 4th in the same triple jump. And Kate Casio, of course, former guest on Terrier Talk, finished 5th in the 3,200-meter run. She had a little bit of injury struggles throughout the year, so it's great to see her end on such a high note there in the 3,200-meter run. Even without a state title, an amazing run, an amazing finish for the season for the girls' track team. Now, the state tennis tournament I didn't cover over Easter break. I apologize for that. I'm going to go ahead and cover it now for tennis. So tennis wrapped up the season, both boys and girls. Boys didn't have the remarkable finish that the girls had. I'll talk about that in a minute. The boys didn't have the same undefeated record that the girls had, so it's understandable. But still a very strong finish, and still a lot of point scorers, which in a state meet in tennis, the way tennis works, you have to win a match at state to be able to score points. So that is incredibly impressive from all of these boys. I'm going to go ahead and list them here. John Boveland, Hunter Bates, Jackson Hadel, Josh McCain, Trey Bork, and Michael Charbonnet, also a former Terrier Talk interviewee. All scored points at state. That's an incredible honor, and great job to all of them. Now, the undefeated girls tennis team walked into state and finished 4th. That is great. They didn't win, which is unfortunate, but that is an amazing feat for all of the girls. And of course, they also had a lot of point scorers. Go ahead and briefly go over those now. They finished 4th. Mackenzie Stoltz and Madison McElroy, I assume in doubles. If they were both singles, then that's incredible. But they got to the semifinals of the state tournament. Wow. That's what a great doubles finish for them. Also point scorers for the girls, Juliette Smith, Grace Fournier, Kate Chasson, Jenna Budlosh, and both Lily and Campbell Babin. So an amazing finish to the season for both the boys and the girls. And of course, I hope they have the same success over the course of the next few years. I know there are a lot of junior names, a lot of people I know very well in that list of point scorers. So hopefully after we graduate, they can recoup those losses after our grade and improve from there. Softball, all district got announced this week. The first huge order of news for that is Coach D. Price, a new first-year coach. I talked about this a few weeks ago with Leah Martin when she came up to talk about softball with me. She's a first-year coach, just got the team this year, and she won Coach of the Year. That's an incredible award. Congratulations to her for that. Now, in first team for all district, Kaylin Dehart, who also was talked about a lot in that interview, deservedly so, it seems, was the first team all district at pitcher. Pitched pretty much every game for us this season and had a great season with that, of course, deserving of those all-district honors. Outside of that, Grace Hensley was all-district at catcher. Sarah Brown was all-district in the outfield, and in utility, Lily Mazer and Madeline Lovell both were first team. Interestingly enough, from the co-district champions, now, Emery Prentice is a freshman. Doesn't really change just how impressive that is. I apologize for that, but she's a freshman. Doesn't change how impressive Emery Prentice's finish was in that pole vault state championship. So, it's very interesting what happened here. So, co-district champions in softball had 5 first-team all-district members and 0 second-team all-district members. In the research for this, I found that very interesting. Of course, congrats to the entire softball team for the co-district championship and a great season. But I find that interesting, and of course to all of the first-team district members. So, baseball is the only other sport to talk about here. Unfortunately, we are running out of sports. Golf didn't make it to state. Golf has I know the girls competed well. I talked about it a little bit last week, but I guess just a little bit of wrap-up. Of course, they are spring sports. Great job to them, and I wish them the best of luck in future seasons. So baseball, the final sport to talk about, and the only sport that had a chance to extend Terrier talk really, and extend, of course, the season for spring sports. And it did not happen. We had a tough task, a very tall task, to face the number 1 seed University Lab. What is their mascot? University Lab High School team, and we lost to them. We fell to them in 2 games, the final game being today. But we definitely gave it our all. We were not embarrassed, and we went out there and showed to ULab that we are a team to be taken seriously. They had to take us seriously in that final game. They had to be impressed by us at least a little bit in that final game, in that second game, to be able to win. And coming out of it, that has to be their impression. So what happened? The first game on Thursday, we lost 11-1. We were just overwhelmed. We lost in 5 innings. Not a great game from us. I don't want to say not a huge surprise, but ULab does this to a lot of teams. So to see them do that to us in the first game, it isn't, world-ending to see that happen. But the way that we came back from it, the way that we rebound from it in the next game is remarkable. And it shows our grit, and it shows how strong, how tough we are as a team, that willpower as a team that we have. And it's something I've talked about all season with the baseball team. Starting off so slow and then catching all of this momentum. Going into this game, winning 18 of the last 21 games. And we gave it everything, and we gave them a major fight in the second game. So what happened in the second game? Well, first of all, we had a rainout on Saturday, which means the second game happened on Sunday. This also means I wanted to go ahead and give what happened in the Edie White game a little bit of a talk, because ever since the Vanderbilt Edie White games, I wanted to see this rematch. So I want to go ahead and give it a little bit of closure to see, what happened with Edie White versus the number 2 seed St. Thomas More. I can't tell you what happened because that third game has not been reported yet. As of the live recording, as of this right now, it's probably done. The game started at 4. But we don't know what happened. Edie White took the first game 1-0, a big upset against the number 2 seed, and then lost 5-4 in the second game. And then, kind of hard to call it an upset when it's a 27-1 team, but still seeding upset against the number 2 seed, lost 5-4, and then the third game probably got completed a little while ago. We just don't know what happened. Anyway, so the second game against ULab. Finished earlier today, and we got the report for it a couple of hours ago. So, an amazing performance for 7 full innings that led to the sad conclusion of the season with a 3-2 loss. Not many teams go to ULab, and even in the second game of a best-of-3 series, go in and only lose to University Lab by 1 run. It's just not something that happens very often. No one competes with ULab like this, and we did it. And we did it. We showed that we deserve to be in that higher echelon. We just showed that we deserve to be at that top ranking, to be a contender, because we contended with ULab in this game. The star-making performance is the same star-making performance every time he took the mound, and that was Brendan Hamner. Brendan Hamner was on fire going into this game. I've talked about it every single time he's been on the mound. He had 25, 26 strikeouts in his last few games going into this, last 3 games or something like that, averaging an incredible number of strikeouts per game, and had a star-making performance. Brendan Hamner finished this season in a spectacular way. Went the distance, completed the game, all 21 outs, allowed 0 earned runs, had 6 strikeouts, gave up 3 walks. I assume that those 3 walks were the 3 runs that scored, which is why they're not earned runs. And he only gave up 4 hits. To the number 1 overall seed, to ULab, he gave up 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. It's amazing. And that's not it. He had an RBI and a run, accounting for, in some way, 2 of the 3 runs. And he really did have an amazing performance. This is ULab. This is the number 1 seed. My assumption is there are probably some college scouts there. And Brendan Hamner probably made those college scouts open another eye. I really do think that that's very possible to have happened. So Brendan Hamner, an amazing performance on one of the biggest stages of his career at this point, and I hope he can have a senior season that anywhere replicates what he completed in his junior year this year. A couple of other names, Jean-Luc Lepere, only a freshman, had a good day with an RBI. Colby Dufresne, who had the only RBI in the first game, also had a double, and a few others had a few other good performances as well. No big names, but no big numbers. It happens in a 3-2 game, but it happens. Good performance to everyone throughout this game, and of course throughout the season. Sad loss to end the season, but we gave it everything. We did everything we could to go into this game and try our best to succeed. And we showed you, Lab, that we were not to be taken lightly. We were to be taken seriously, and that's the way that you always want to finish a season, taken seriously. So, of course, congrats to our Terriers for a great finish to the baseball season, and of course, I hope that we can come back into the next season and have even more success. That is going to be it for going into recaps of new news regarding sports this season. We're going to be done after next week. This is the season finale of Terrier Talk. We are going to be done after next week. Next week's, of course, going to be a recap. Going to be recapping all of the big events throughout the last week. And that is going to be it for Terrier Talk after next week for this year. We'll be back in the fall. Of course, talking about those fall sports in August when school starts back up. Also planning to start up a second show talking specifically about college football when school starts back up when we get closer to football season. But there'll be a lot more information on that later on when we get closer to that point, when we get closer to August. So I'll talk about that a lot more then. But until then, and until next week, I hope to see you guys next time. I'll see you guys next week, same time, same channel. I'll see you.